And pledge, please.
So I'm going to start with a poem that in my second grade class we had to memorize and recite in front of our friends. And it's a very silly one that just makes me laugh and brings me fond memories. And I want you to take away from this that when you grow up, don't forget to be silly and look back at your school years with very fond memories. And it's a very short poem. I eat my peas with honey. I've done it all my life. It makes the peas taste funny, but it keeps them on my knife.
Very good.
I love it.
So if we would stand and say the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, I'm glad, Mrs. Pennick, you ate your peas growing up. That's very important. For the record, I'd like to share that all school board members are in attendance, and we have the following individuals who'd like to be recognized. Mr. Bobby Aganina, Lake Howell High School Vice President of SCA, welcome. Melissa Pugh, Seminole County Council, PTA. Judy Ning, SCA Treasurer. Debbie Smith, Citizens Accountability Caucus. Oops, stuck. Teresa Siegler, Seminole County Council, PTA. Polly DeLucia, President, Seminole County Council, PTA and PTSA. And Fiona Shannon, Moms Demand Action. Thank you all for joining us here this evening. Dr. Griffin, do we have any agenda modifications, please?
There are two items, Madam Chair. The first is the addendum for good cause is marked on our electronic agenda by a green flag named addendum item. And the second, this evening I have to pull agenda item 4AM, and that is the approval of ranking for ITN 181900060 NRC, solid waste removal and recycling services. This item is replaced by item 4BM.
Thank you, Dr. Griffin. School board members, any questions of clarifying issues with any agenda items? No, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and second. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously. Dr. Griffin, we have many presentations this evening.
I think we have 9. Let's go.
Great. There you go.
Dr. Griffin and School Board, and let's try this again. It's my pleasure this evening to recognize our May Veteran of the Month, Mr. Paul Griffith. Mr. Griffith is a 6-year teacher in the Seminole County Public School System. Mr. Griffith is also an adjunct history professor at Valencia College. He is a retired lieutenant colonel from the United States Air Force with over 29 years of military service, primarily as an instructor radar navigator in the B-52 Stratofortress. He is a command master navigator with over 4,000 flying hours and multiple military aircraft with 100-plus hours of combat time in 3 different military operations. Mr. Griffith grew up in the St. Petersburg, Florida area and graduated from Pinellas County School System in 1981. He received his bachelor's degree in history from Texas A&M University in 1985 and his master's in liberal arts at the Texas Christian University in 91. Mr. Griffith has extensive teaching experience at the college level. He was an assistant professor at the United States Air Force Academy for 5 years, where he taught over 400 cadets and 30 courses in the military arts and sciences. Additionally, he was a flight instructor in a T-43A and a simulator instructor pilot into T-37B. Mr. Griffith has been an adjunct instructor for Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University since 2010, where he teaches a freshman history course in aviation history. When stationed at U.S. Special Operations Command Headquarters at MacDill Air Force Base from 2003 to 2007, he was an adjunct history instructor for Hillsborough Community College. Mr. Griffith has been stationed all over the world and has had the unique experience of circumnavigating the globe twice in a B-52. He has flown the B-52 out of primary bomber bases in Texas, Washington, and Louisiana, and out of forward operating bases in Guam, England, Diego Garcia, and Spain. His staff assignments took him and his family to the Academy, to Virginia, and to Florida. He's a graduate of the Air War College and Joint Forces Staff College and has been a guest lecturer at the Pentagon, FBI, Army War College, and U.S. State Department. Following his last assignment as the nuclear executive manager for the 2nd Bomb Wing at Barksdale Air Force Base, Mr. Griffith and his wife, Deborah, of 34 years, decided to return to Florida and start a new chapter. They have 2 grown children, one a graduate of the University of Florida, the other a former student at USF, and recently welcomed the arrival of their first granddaughter in January of 2014.
Dr. Griffin and board members, tonight I'd like to recognize a very special young man from Crystal Lake Elementary School, and this is Stephen Ahi. He's a 3rd grade student at Crystal Lake, and he donated his bone marrow to his siblings, his sibling Vanessa, who's a 7th grader, and his brother Kingsley, who is a university student. So we'd like for Stephen to come down and be recognized. With him is his mother. Is Dad here tonight? His mother, Nikki Ahi, his sister, Vanessa, and brother Kingsley. And then also with him tonight are 2 teachers, Miss Briatico and Miss Keener, and also Amy Moore, the school administration manager, and also Miss Christy Marshall, the principal of Crystal Lake Elementary School. We'd like to thank Stephen for his bravery and congratulate him and his brother and sister.
Dr. Griffin and board members, we have several schools that we'd like to recognize. These students will be participating in Whirls for Odyssey of the Minds at Michigan State University, East Lansing, Michigan. They'll be leaving, the competition starts May 22nd through the 25th. Again, these students will be competing in the finals for Whirl. We'd like to start by recognizing students from Goldsboro Elementary School. We have 2 teams. We have 2 teams that will be competing from Goldsboro Elementary School. Our coaches, Kelly Kennard, Deb Hanshaw. Our students are Anish Gupta, Camden Dominguez, Koshane Babalda, Kristen Joseph, Jordan Coulson, Samira Singh, and Kimdeep Kaur. Our second team, coached by Mrs. Benningholm, Victoria McFarland, Sophia Torrenson, Miguel Cordero, John Benenhove, Adrian Quiles, Raya Marard, Tanvel Patel, and Cooper Seibert. Our principal, Chris Mulholland, is also here to join them. Again, 2 teams from Goldsboro Elementary School. And from Woodlands Elementary School, we have a team going. Would Woodlands Elementary students please come up? From Woodlands Elementary. We have Cora Cummings, Alice Lawrence, Bianca Urban, Daria Lachkova, Shelby File, Harmony Hunick, and Sarah Hakimji. And our coaches, Amanda Cummings and Jessica Lawrence, and their principal, Miss Patricia May. Come on up, Mrs. May.
We have one more team going to the Odyssey of the Mind World competition in Michigan, and that is from Wilson Elementary School. Students, come on down. Lady coming down? Oh, wait. See, I don't have their names. Okay, never mind. Okay. The students are Nathan Lee, Becton Suber, Samaya Wally, Raylan Boulay, Ashlyn Fetchick, and Juliana Carr. I see Miss Kennedy there, Mr. Gardhell, their principal, and their coach. We'd like to offer our congratulations, and we are wishing you the best of luck.
Oh, they got their trophy. Boys and girls, we wish you the best of luck to our families. And just so you know, we officially have 1 week, 1 day, 1 hour, 45 minutes, and 37 seconds until world begins. Good luck.
Good evening, school board members and Dr. Griffin. Tonight we are honoring 2 robotics teams from Jackson Heights Middle School. Team 10-240, the Galactic Gears, and Team 920, the Plaque Trackers, for their outstanding performance. This past year, the 2 teams competed in the First LEGO League. In the course of completing, First LEGO League teams research a real-world problem and are challenged to develop a solution. This past year's challenge had to do with social and physical issues that astronauts will encounter on long-duration space missions. Teams must also design, build, and program a robot using LEGO Mindstorms technology, then compete on a tabletop playing field. The Galactic Gears developed a reusable peppermint-scented capsule to help astronauts maintain focus while faced with the long duration away from their families. The Galactic Gears this year were awarded one of 48 bids to the State of Florida tournament in Delray Beach, where they won a second-place team award, and they were awarded one of 48 invitations to the Mountain State Invitational Tournament in Fairmont, West Virginia. Let's recognize the Galactic Gears. The team members are Ahmed Adam, Finn Cash, Laura Chin, El Dominguez, Carissa Emmert, Nathan Forer, James Griffith, Jensen Miller, Harshini Thupili, and William Whalen. The second team, the Plaque Trackers, developed a patent-pending app that would allow astronauts to monitor their dental health and share it with mission managers while away in space. The plaque trackers this year were awarded 1 of 48 bids to the Central Florida Regional Tournament in Winter Haven, where they won the First Place Champions Award. They were awarded 1 of 48 bids to the State of Florida Tournament in Delray Beach, and they were awarded 1 of 108 invitations to the first LEGO League World Festival in Houston, Texas. And here are the plaque trackers. Team members: Noah Abano, Siddharth Kalidas, Carolina Dennis, McKinley Ellis, Hayden Holland, Sahil Ravini, Sanjeev Sanjay, Ilani Sigwanath, and Nathan Tribeats. Joining them this evening are their coaches, Rob Dennis, Jennifer Ellis, robotics teacher and coach Jackie Wilt, and their principal, Miss Sarah Manser. Congratulations, students.
Dr. Griffin and board members, we have several high school celebrations and recognitions to go through tonight. First, from Lake Mary High School, state champion, pole vaulter, Noah St. Pierre. Noah's accomplishments include 2019 FHS Area District Champion in the pole vault. He was also regional champion in the pole vault, breaking a school record with a jump of 14 feet 7 inches. And then, of course, state champion in the pole vault, broke his own record of 14 feet 9 inches. With him tonight is coach from Lake Mary High School, Coach Bill Cashman. Athletic Director Doug Peters and Mickey Reynolds, principal, could not be here tonight because of awards night. Also, state champions in boys track from Oviedo High School. Come on up. Angel Vicioso, Kayamo Galloway, Mamush Galloway, and Sam Austin, state champions in the 4x800. Also, Angel, raise your hand so everybody knows which one's Angel. Where's Angel? Angel is also state champion in the 1600 and 3200. State champions boys track from Oviedo High School. With them tonight, their coaches, Dave and Michelle Tibbetts, and principal of Oviedo High School, Joe Tribus. Hold on, Mike, we got another coach coming. Also from Lake Brantley High School, the girls 4x800 relay team that won districts regional and was state runner-up. Come on up, led by leadoff leg of junior Ashley Klingenberg. Ashley had an outstanding year and won all 4 races in district, qualifying and 4 races for regional as well, and medaling in all 4. Also second leg was sophomore Anya Sprague, senior Chloe Hyde, and senior Jordan Stevens. Anya was the Lake Brantley 2019 girls top sprinter, setting school records and a team record. Jordan was the outstanding middle distance runner. She qualified for 2 events in the 4A state track meet and set a school record. She would be running at FAU in the fall, by the way. In the 4th leg was senior Chloe Hyde, had an outstanding middle and long distance running, winning the 3,200 for 4 years in a row in conference, medaling in state in 2 events. She'll be going on to the University of Florida when she leaves Lake Brantley. She was Female Athlete of the Year. Also with them, Coach Tony Moore and Principal Trent Daniel, also in the back, I think I saw come in. Athletic Director Jerry Kelly. We also have another honor from Lake Brantley, and she did not know this was happening because she said she wasn't going to come if it happened, but she's here. Lake Brantley High School Athletic Director Jerry Kelly recently received the 2018-2019 Dr. Clarence Snell Outstanding Athletic Administrator Award for the state of Florida. This award is presented to an athletic administrator recognized in the community as a leader who maintains athletics as an integral part of the total educational program. Jerry Kelly administers an exemplary athletic program, making full use of the school and community resources and involving as many students as possible. She is recognized as a leader at Lake Brantley High School. Dr. Trent Daniel says Jerry Kelly is simply the best of the best and represents leadership with integrity and always speaks her mind to Dr. Daniel, providing wisdom and guidance. I worked there, and I remember what it was like when Jerry spoke her mind. You just said, okay. She will receive her SCPS 35-year pin this year, and Dr. Daniel says she hopes she stays another 35. We also have a new administrator for high schools, assistant principal at Lyman High School, Amy Moore. Amy started her career as a literacy coach in Citrus County and moved here to Seminole County Schools in 2008 as an English teacher at Tuscaloosa Middle School. She then moved to Haggerty High School as an ESC and math teacher, and in 2014 she became a Greyhound as a geometry teacher, testing coordinator, and most recently, the learning coach, where she supported instructional practices that lead to increased learning in the classroom. Family members with her tonight, if you would stand up. Her parents, John and Susan Colasanti, husband, Dustin Moore, sisters, Rachel Adams and Kylene Latart, and her mother and father-in-law, Janice and Dave Ulrich. And last but not least, our new administrator in the high school ranks, principal at Haggerty High School. Please welcome Rob Frasca. Rob graduated from Stetson University in 2000 and started his career teaching in Osceola County. He has taught social studies, PE, and English prior to becoming an administrator. He spent the past 13 years in Seminole County. Most recently, he was an assistant principal at Lake Mary High School. With him tonight are his mother, Linda, and his brother, Michael. Congratulations, Principal at Haggerty High School, Rob Frasca.
Good evening. My name is Polly Delisha, and thank you for having me here tonight on behalf of Seminole County Council of PTAs and PTSAs. I'd like to call Melissa Pugh, our incoming president, and Teresa Sigler, our reflections chair, forward to help recognize our state winner students. We had such a great year this year for reflections, and several of the students have joined us this evening. Marcos Velez Diaz from Wilson Elementary, a second grader, received an Award of Merit in Primary Film Production. Diara Kudumala, also from Wilson Elementary and a second grader, received an Award of Merit in Primary Music. Atiba Asifa Fitzpatrick, a third grader from Woodlands Elementary, received an Award of Merit in Primary Film Production. Sohana Reza from Sanford Middle School, grade 7, received an Award of Excellence from Florida PTA for middle school visual arts. Lillian Jacques Baker from Hegarty High School, grade 10, received a Florida PTA Award of Excellence for high school literature. She was unable to attend this evening. And Elian Dory from Woodlands Elementary, grade 2, okay. Elian received an Award of Excellence from Florida PTA, and she received an honorable mention from National PTA for her primary visual art piece. And finally, and we are so pleased to announce that this year, Seminole County had a national PTA winner with an Award of Excellence. Mr. Easton Matthews from Lawton Childs Middle School, grade 6, for his film, Inspirational Heroes. Yep, you're all done. And board, I would just very quickly like to thank you for my 2 years in which I have partnered with you on behalf of Seminole County Council of PTAs. At each of your places, we've left a rock that reads promote. In the PTA bylaws, our objective is set to promote the welfare of youth and children, an objective we share with you, and to promote the collaboration and engagement of families and educators. And in Seminole County, we have such a vibrant partnership. I want to thank you for having me be part of that for the past 2 years. And I leave you in the capable hands of Melissa Pugh. So thank you very much.
You're going to miss the best part of the meeting.
Everybody's sanitized and
Oh, no, he said he was coming. No, 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 no. This is Indeed.
Everybody's leaving.
Something we said? Okay, Dr. Griffin,
Yes.
does Kelly have a gun?
Yes.
Because
Oh, yes.
that's the guy that's.
To give her a heads up.
Raised did I scare them all?
Taken care of. I hate everybody wins, but I get it.
Good, how are you?
Oh, Valena, how are you doing? I can't reach you. How are you?
No problem.
Okay, we're all over there. Good evening, Mr. Rinaldi. Thank you so much for representing our school district on our Business Advisory Board. I know you have a very important presentation this evening.
Yes, we do. Good evening, board members and Dr. Griffin. The Business Advisory Board is a group of passionate individuals to Seminole County Public Schools. They provide multiple services to the district during the school year. This includes representation on advisory committees, serving on multiple RFQ, RFP selection committees, and focusing on assessing the district's business practices, technologies, and procedures. One of the most important tasks that the BAB performs is the undertaking of deep dives, which are an in-depth analysis of issues critical to the district and the community, which have been identified by the superintendent and the school board. During the BAB presentations in June and December, 2 deep dives were identified, and we're going to present progress today. Those include the evaluation of the region zoning application process and looking at issues associated with high school start times. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Sean Essler, who will introduce the team leads and go through progress discussion. Thank you.
Evening, school board, superintendent. A couple months ago, we present with you our achievements from last year and got some great feedback on that and some direction on where to head next. One of those was some direction on the regional schools and how we can best meet the needs on why those schools are zoned the way they are. We've identified a major problem. I'm going to bring Chris Torsh up, one of our members, to go into a little detail on what that problem really entails for us and questions we're going to try and answer. And that being, the regional school zone application process does not stimulate a timely response from parents, and therefore does not and therefore the process does not best meet the program's diversity goals. And with that, let me bring up Mr. Torsha.
Good afternoon, board members. Mr. Superintendent. My name is Chris Torsha. I'm on the Business Advisory Board, and we are looking at the regional zone application process as part of one of our deep dives. We came up with, Sean already read you the process, the problem statement, and we've focused on 5 questions that derive from that problem statement. So what I'd like to do, I'm going to read them just in summary, and I'd like to get your feedback if you have any at this point, questions that you have from these particular or rather, excuse me, follow-up questions to these questions that we're posing. So the first is, why is the information about the regional zoning program not reaching the target audience in a timely fashion? Why aren't they, that target audience, why aren't they responding in a timely fashion? And from that flow a number of different problems. Do delays in the application process result in increased costs in student recruitment and in program marketing costs? Do delays in the application process result in increased costs to other program components, program operations, program transportation and planning, technology infrastructure? How can the branding and the perceptions of the regional schools be enhanced to increase the number of on-time applications and to retain more students within the school system? And do the shortfalls in achieving the desired student distribution in regional schools cause risk to school grade growth, teacher retention and recruitment, and school funding? So that's the summary of our 5 problems that we have, that we're looking at. Do you have any feedback for me at this point?
Any comments, board members?
Any questions that you have on?
Mrs. Almond?
So not a question, but just a thought. You know, not everybody has this urgency to go to one particular school, so it may not matter to them so much to be the first one in there sending in their application.
So certainly, we had a presentation from the administrator who deals with the regional zoning program. There's a window of opportunity that the program wants to meet, which is the January through March timeframe, where persons, of course, who are coming into the school system, number one, have to actually enroll. That's the first step. But then there's this application process. So, right, there's a number of factors that go into why is it important to them? Do they understand the importance to them? Are they aware of the program? All these things we're going to be looking at.
Comment?
Any other feedback at this point?
The only other last comment I'd make, Mr. Torsha, is I think it might be interesting to look at the region to see if they have any unique qualities that perhaps other regions in our school district doesn't. Perhaps the mobility factors. Many people in that region perhaps are transient in nature. I know I was raised in New York where everybody started school the Wednesday after Labor Day. So if you're moving down from New York, you don't really feel there's a need to make sure that you're registered for an August start date because they're not used to that. So it'd be interesting to see if that is like in other areas in the county or if it's unique to this region. That might give us some better feedback of if the population is different.
Very good. I'm going to pass the mic back to Sean. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next problem we start looking at initially started as an investigation into options for adjusting school start times. When we looked at this initially, we looked at it from a business perspective. And when we make decisions in the business world, is it a business decision that makes sense? Is it going to generate profit for us? Is it going to make sense in the long term? So as we start digging, we uncovered there's a lot more information we really did not have at this point. So our main problem now is investigating and explore options to address the possible benefits regarding the impact of school schedules and their effect on academic performance, something a little bit broader. And as we dig in, are there any real negative impacts facing the student population's academic performance that could be attributed to existing school start times? Let's verify that there's actually an issue there that we can address. And then would the potential negative impacts on a student's academic, social, work, family, and/or extracurricular activities outweigh the potential positive effects of adjusting those school start times? If a change is warranted, how feasible are the changes to the start times when considering impacts to school operations, transportation, budgets, and academics? And aside from actually changing those times, are there other changes to school methods or policies that could better alleviate the issues we're seeing with that academic performance? And I think it's going to take us some time to dig into it. We've done a ton of research already, but I think in a couple months we'll have some good, solid answers to some of these questions. Is there anything I can answer for you now?
I have a question regarding how is the academic performance, how will that be measurable?
That's something we're looking at. We could look at school grades, we could look at individual school performance, through a student's life. But I think we got to look at a student's academic career as a whole. One of the things that we've seen has come up in a couple meetings, school attendance, tardies, things along those lines. I think that plays into that academic performance. It's something we're going to be taking a look at as well.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Yes. Dr. Griffin.
Please.
First of all, thank you for looking at this. Julie Murphy is here, and I've been trying to do this for how many years, Julie? And that's why I reached out to you all to see if there is a solution. The challenge with it, as the way I see it, is we have a finite number of buses and a finite number of drivers, and we do 3 runs in the morning and 3 runs at night. So we're very as cost-effective as we can be.
Oh, yeah.
We're also one of the only districts that I'm aware of that the board graciously provides magnet busing to all magnet students, and I think that is a very, very important part of who we are.
Oh, yeah.
I've done student forums on this, and mixed feelings. Some high school students like the schedule, some don't.
Right.
Some are thinking of maybe a virtual option and already are doing that first period, second period, if they really want to start later. I will tell you that I've heard, again, this is not a scientific study, this is me speaking to small groups of students, that many of them with the early time, they think it would negatively impact the support they give their families. They watch the younger ones. It could possibly impact academics and athletics. They have some concerns about it. All that being said, there is some research out there that says it is better for high schools to start a little bit later. If there's a way to do it, I'd love to see the recommendation. Some districts have switched, put elementary first, not too fond of putting the elementary students out there real early either. And the other possible solution is to push everybody back, but we would be starting middle school well after 10 a.m., which I think is too late. So good luck.
Yeah, I will say, it's interesting, from our perspective, it's a great problem because we love sinking our teeth into interesting things. And hats off to Julie Murphy and her team. I still don't quite understand how they do what they do and sleep at the same time. It's kind of crazy. But the team we're working with is really going to dig into it and take a look. It is kind of an exciting problem for us to look at. And I agree. I mean, we're seeing the exact same kind of research that you've seen, some of the same concerns with students starting later, with work schedules. I've heard from employers in the area and how that would impact them and their scheduling. So this really affects a whole lot of areas I think a lot of people just aren't aware of. So it'll be interesting to see what we come up with.
Appreciate you taking a look at it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for the update.
And Dr. Griffin, do you have a recommendation for the consent agenda?
Yes, I do. My recommendation is that the consent agenda be approved as presented.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. We've now moved to our student disciplinary hearing dispositions. Any recommendation, Dr.
My
Griffin?
recommendation is that the School Board of Seminole County approve the student disciplinary recommendations from April 5th, 2019, April 22nd, 2019, and April 29th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. We've now reached our public comment portion of our agenda, and I'd ask Mrs. Allman to share our protocols for such.
Thank you. The public input segment of the meeting is provided for the purpose of permitting persons to present specific matters to the board for its consideration and action or referral to the superintendent and his staff. The public input segment of the meeting is not open to presentation of campaign issues by political candidates, matters involving student disciplinary actions, pending employee disciplinary matters, or pending litigation. Each individual member of the public is limited to 3 minutes. A designated group representative may have up to 6 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. And first, I'd like to invite to the podium would be Debbie Smith, and after Ms. Smith, Mike Johnson. Good evening.
Good evening.
I came here to speak today about Teacher Appreciation Week. I know we just had that and how we all appreciate our teachers, and it shouldn't be a week, it should be every day. But I read something in the newspaper on Sunday, and I wanted to go ahead and read it. It was a My Word column written by a Seminole County teacher. So I'd like to share that with everyone to understand what's happening to our public school teachers and why it's so difficult to replace them when they leave. Praise is nice, but it doesn't pay the bills. The other day I got this robocall followed up by an email message from the Superintendent of Public Schools since it's Teacher Appreciation Week. He says and writes that education is the driving economic force in our county, that people move here because schools are so great, and he wants to thank each and every one of us in this mass message because we are the reasons for its success. This is from a county who for years routinely offered teachers a $500 bonus every year instead of a raise. There's also a rumor that teachers can get a free Chick-fil-A sandwich one day this week between the hours of 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. at designated Greater Orlando stores, but as my teacher friends remind me, who is free at 3 p.m.? I used to picket the school board and attend school board meetings advocating for a living wage. The board members would say things like, "But you're changing lives, just do it for the kids." Well, of course, no one expects to get rich teaching school, but if a teacher isn't married, she has to live in a one-bedroom apartment and drive a very old car. She does not have cable, nor does she eat out much or go on vacation. Her clothes are bought at consignment. She does have some health care, but with huge deductibles that she could never afford. If she gets really sick, misses too much school, and does not have tenure, and no teacher hired after 2011 has tenure, her contract may not be renewed. People like to laugh about the good old days, chop kindling, things like that. But now teachers arrive at 6:30 a.m. and they are on their feet working all day. When the students go home, teachers stay for hours attending meetings, parent conferences, and so forth. To keep their certificates, teachers attend college classes, professional development sessions. And now, according to the Florida legislators, teachers are eligible to receive artillery training and carry guns. They also complete online training on how to spot suicidal students and what to do about it, although the instructions do not include disarming him. But maybe during gun training, they'll teach teachers how to do that. So teachers are custodians, counselors, sharpshooters. You would think even one of these professions would pay more per year and with better health insurance.
Mrs. Smith, could you wrap up?
Oh, yes, I can.
Thank you.
All of this appreciation brings tears to my eyes. So excuse me if I roll my eyes at the messages of goodwill. So as she concludes, thank a teacher by giving them a raise, not empty praise. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith, for presenting. Do we have Mr. Carnes or Mr. Russi that could answer? Mr. Russi, please.
Good evening. Yes, ma'am.
We heard in the statement that teachers have not been given any raises and only $500 bonuses. That's not to my recollection, but I know that is something that you work with dearly every day. So if you could share.
Right, that is inaccurate. Recently, the last time a bonus was given was in 2011-12, shortly after the recession hit, when there was a national recession. Budgets were being cut at that time, so there was a one-time bonus given at that time. I don't think it was $500. I'd have to go back and look at the amount. All of the recent years, and since Dr. Griffin's been superintendent, there have been raises, at least for the last 7 years. There have been salary increases for all teachers.
Thank you. I just wanted to make that point of clarification, and I think I can speak for our entire board. We wouldn't do what we do if it wasn't to support teachers, and we do love our teachers. So thank you for your service. It wasn't I don't feel your phone call was meant not
No, that-
complimentary, but we can't say thank you enough 365 days a
Exactly.
year. So.
And being a teacher for past 26 years, just speaking on my own, knowing that we have had raises, I believe back from 2012 on, they may not have been as much as we want, but we also have to think about what the legislators are doing and how much money we're receiving per student and the funding that we're receiving. But we averaged between 2 to 3% raises all the way until last year. And of course, we love our teachers, and any way possible, we would love to give them as much money as possible because we think the world of them, and that's coming straight from my heart, and I believe from all of ours as well.
Thank you so much. Next up is Mr. Mike Johnson, and then Michael Scooby AK, please. Good evening.
Hi.
My name is Michael Johnson. I used to live at 9101 Kilgore Road, Orlando, Florida. Now I'm living in Seminole County at 312 Tangerine Street. I am here today to raise awareness and alarm over anti-Semitism and anti-Christian and anti-secular hate speech around the country. The 9th and 10th grade Pearson textbooks are being used in the district that contain 36 pages of distorted history and the deliberate proselytizing of Islam. The sugarcoating of this cult is evil. A recent student from this district converted to Islam and ended up shooting his roommate after leaving your school here in Seminole County. Multiple vulnerable students are being led to believe that certain evil practices are acceptable and have joined the Islamic State from Florida and America. When these students and former students, after conversion, get copies of the Quran and listen to the imams, they become triggered, otherwise known as radicalized. Almost all terrorists are under 35 years old. A generation exposed to textbooks that normalize Islamic ideology. Organizations like CARE and the Muslim Brotherhood and Islamists like the Gulen Charter Schools are pushing this hateful ideology. It is one of the reasons President Trump is working on banning the Muslim Brotherhood and associated jihadist groups. If Islam is going to be taught in our schools, it must be taught using the factual information and factual history, not distortions and falsehoods. The beginning of Islam is being researched by scholars, scientists, archaeologists, and also by linguists, which I was in the military. The beginning of the political theocracy is revealing. You know, you have handouts that show that many scholars now are documenting the hazy beginnings of the Islam. You know, it's questionable beginning, and there's many scholars. And for our group that we have, we're PhDs. I have a master's degree. Many people we're educated people. We're not ignorant. We know this, and we're doing research around the world on this subject now. The history of conquest, destruction, and slaughter is well documented and can be verified by reading archives in Europe. If you visit certain cities. And by visiting sites where atrocities happen. Thousands of battles across the Middle East, Northern Africa, Spain, and the Balkans show the history of violent jihad spreading Islam. See maps of the battle in your handouts. Note that these dots represent the battles, but not the thousands of Golden Age Islamic slave ships kidnapping children along the coasts of European cities and blacks in Africa. The motivation and triggering of the conquest and slaughter was from this book, the Quran, which you all have a copy today, which were given to each board member and to the Seminole County School Board. Well, this Quran is signed in Arabic by the author, and it's Usama Dorak, who is a renowned expert on Islam. Islam in the Quran, in its earliest fragments and stories, predate the person called Muhammad. Versions used today are different from the older versions used in the past. Its earliest stories attributed to Muhammad and Uthman are written in the 7th century, which the handouts show. There's a timeline in here. Here is the English translation of the book used by Islamic armies and Islamic jihadists that are currently killing millions around the world. Highlighted in the books that we gave to you are verses that trigger and inspire the educated Islamists to kill. Verbs right straight from the source. The motivation, the motives, the reason to trigger young minds to believe in evil. It's anti-Christian, it's anti-Jewish, it's anti-gay, it's anti-woman. Please take time to read and understand the hate in this book.
Thank you,
Pearson
Mr.
school books that
Johnson.
teach a distorted view of Islam is dangerous to our kids and to our society. Please remove the books. Please research the genesis of the political ideology and the way it spread and the
Johnson, your
inspirational
time's up.
past
If
use
you
to spread the ideology of threats and
Comments,
jihad.
that would be fine.
Thank you very much. Love you all.
Thanks.
I had to speed my 3 minutes in.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Michael Scooby AK is up, and then Mark Masky.
you guys have the plucky, audacious, terrifying, challenging task of trying to save Western civilization. My name is Michael Scooby AK, and I'm a founder of an organization called People Promoting Peace. We need to continually advance our civilization. A properly regulated, capitalistic free market such as ours has brought more prosperity to the nation than any other system. I am truly frightened by the cancer I see in our educational system and society today. One of my major concerns is inaccurate information. I've been a scientist and engineer. Nothing irritates me more than the inaccurate information. False news, which seems to be so prevalent today. Our brains are an amazing organ, but it lacks two essential qualities for survival. One, it has no way of telling something is true or not. It cannot discern between truth and false. The second major challenge for the brain is it has no erase function. Something gets in the brain, it sticks. There's a big difference between knowledge and wisdom. Our civilization depends on it. Just as organs and genes have evolved, so have civilizations. Besides accurate and false news, my major concerns are instructional material with blatant anti-Semitism, leftist and progressive indoctrinations, efforts to destroy our past and Constitution, and the promoting of Islam as a religion. I am shocked when talking to recent graduates of the Seminole school system who cannot explain American exceptionalism nor the difference between capitalism and socialism. You don't have to be a theist to understand that you can judge an action by looking at its fruits. Eating proper food and exercising leads to better health. Hard work and studying is generally rewarded by knowledge and greater income. These are good fruits. What are the fruits of left wings, progressive, and Islam? Left wing and progressive and Islam are a threat to civilization. Both do not allow free speech. Both thrive on hate and division. Allah and the Quran, therefore Islam and Muslims, sanction and promote slavery, rape, female genital mutilation, marriage of prepubescent girls, the killing of non-Muslims, and the domination of government through Sharia, also known as Islamic law. It says women are deficient in intelligence and have a defective brain. The school board can do better with textbook selection than selecting the Islamic-dominated Pearson textbook. The current Florida law statute 1006.283 allows the school board either to select from a list of books or form a city committee of alternate textbooks, which I'd like to have you support tonight. We could use original materials such as the Federalist Papers and other accurate material, and that will do a better job of educating honorable, peaceful, intelligent, wise citizens. Thank you very much. I gave you a backup of all the material I said. If you don't believe that women are deficient in intelligence, read what I gave you.
Thank you, Mr. Skubiak.
Thank you.
Mark Masky, please.
Good evening, Board. I rise this evening to talk to you about something that's a little less academic. It's actually about athletics. My name's Mark Masky. I'm the president of Oviedo's High School Athletic Booster Club. Have been for the last two years, and been involved in that organization for a little over 2.5. Also a resident here in Seminole County for the last 15 years. As a president of the Booster Club, we recently found out that the turf field at Oviedo High School is going to need to be replaced. And this is a topic that I know is not new to anybody probably sitting up there, but it's a topic that's worthy of discussion for a couple of reasons. First off, we've got 9 high schools here in Seminole County, 8 of which support football programs. I'm going to focus on football, but there's a little bit of a misnomer, so please allow me to attach an asterisk to that. Of those eight high schools that have football fields, 4 of those are grass fields, the other 4 are turf, all right? Now, all of those fields are built on Seminole County property. So all of those fields were approved by Seminole County School Board or Seminole County itself, public school system. What's interesting about it is that it doesn't appear over time that there is either a business case or oversight in terms of how those facilities are managed and maintained, all right? Now, I don't mean that in terms of, I don't mean that as a confrontational statement. I mean it as a statement of fact. We find ourselves here at Oviedo High School finding ways to fund a replacement turf, and we're using private citizens to actually do that. We're actually having private citizens go to a local community bank to take out a loan for $350,000 to finance over 5 years the replacement cost of turf. Now, the school's done a great job in the sense of they've been able to put some funds away to support this. But my concern is that of, from both the citizen standpoint as well as the taxpayer, and that is we have Seminole County facilities that are not budgeted and not funded, and there's not a plan for them to be so over the long term. So on an individual basis, a turf field can be put in. There can be a one-time grant where, for example, this happened at Lake Howell, where somebody comes in and pays for the turf, it's done. That turf's going to be replaced in 8 to 10 years. There needs to be a plan to perpetuate that. I'm looking forward. I'd like to help build a plan for Seminole County going forward to be able to sustain the turf fields we have. The cost between turf and grass, by best estimates, is reasonably similar over the life of the turf, all right? So there needs to be a plan to do that. I'd like to reach out to the school board, and I'd like to offer an opportunity to look at ways to provide oversight. As new principals just got recognized tonight, those folks have no idea what it is that they're walking into for a budgetary standpoint for their school, all right? The same thing happens with high schools. My time is up, and I apologize, but this is an important conversation because everybody here is a taxpayer, and we need to make sure that there's a growth plan, a plan to support and to maintain.
Thank you for your leadership and your input. Any other public comment, Madam Clerk? Okay. Dr. Griffin, any unfinished new business or your superintendent's report?
There is no new or unfinished business, and the superintendent's report are read-only items.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to board member comments. Member Sanchez, please.
All right, first I'll go ahead and do my committee reports. Yesterday we had our Central Florida Public School Board Coalition meeting, and we had our legislative updates. Talked about the 3-tier bonuses and what the system is doing with highly effective teachers and effective teachers and how the money is going to be funded. There is still a lot of questions that a lot of us still don't have answers to, and if anybody wants to find out any answers, please feel free to write to your legislators because there's a lot of information that's still left out, especially in Senate Bill 7071, House Bill 7055. And also the extension for the general knowledge exam. It's been extended for an extra 2 years, so you can have 2 more years, but you would have to have highly effective rating or a mentor. So that is one of the new rules with that. Also, the human trafficking bill, since it didn't get too far, they're looking, along with all of our other bills, to have everybody getting involved this summer, starting to contact the legislators. We really need everybody to start speaking up as much as possible. And then the other one, Business Advisory Board. I'm very proud to sit on the board with such amazing volunteers. Thank you to our director, Julie Murphy, for doing such an amazing job with the presentation, the big, huge binders that you gave us to explain everything to us. The deep dive is a lot, and we really appreciate you all with all your input and all the dedication that the board has done to help us see what we can do to possibly make any changes if we can or if we can't. Today, I'm sorry, I have to share my rice baby, okay? I know you all think I'm silly, okay? But from being a teacher for 26 years at elementary school. So this was Winter Springs Elementary School. Every kid had an opportunity to make it. This is baby Abby, and this is what I weighed when I was little. They did everything you can integrate together in this activity, everything. So all blended learning was in this, and this is how everybody should teach. So thank you, Mrs. Missy Jones, for inviting me to your class at Winter Springs Elementary School. I had a great time making my rice baby. I also had a great time, I don't know if I had a great time, a long day, long couple days, proctoring AP exams. I wouldn't call it great. But the students were well prepared and ready to go. Teacher Appreciation Week was great. We're still continuing some more this week. We have Lake Brantley's tomorrow. The Seminole County Eagle Scout Dinner. Thank you, Tina. That was wonderful. Such amazing young men that are, and girls, sorry. It was fabulous. Also, Heathrow Elementary School. To the fourth grade team, thank you for inviting me to help judge your science fair projects. They were all done in class, or the students did them by themselves, and they shared everything that they did. They were extremely creative. Then the last thing I wanted to say with the Allie's Hope Mental Health Awareness, I had an opportunity to walk with NAMI's walk a couple weeks ago, and Allie's Hope with Joe Gallagher donated another $10,000 to NAMI for mental health awareness, and we will be having another function coming up actually on Monday, a golf tournament. So if anybody's interested in any information with that, please feel free to reach out to me or anybody through Allie's Hope Foundation. And I'm going to leave some of this stuff to you with Sarah Hall and everybody else, but I also would like to make a request, Dr. Griffin, to our superintendent, Dr. Griffin, to consider bringing a recommendation following the board's work session on our relevant legislative topics to include not arming teachers in July. Thank you.
Member Kraus.
Am I up next? Thank you. Well, I would like to first comment about one of our principals that retired. Dr. Connie Collins was formerly at Crooms. She's been everywhere, but she recently retired from Seminole High, and many of us were able to attend her send-off. And I was so moved. The band was there. Her family was there. Surprise videos. And well-deserved retirement for her. She's earned her keep, and I hope she has that girls' trip. Her saying is, make it a good day or not, the choice is yours, and I love that saying. So good luck and best wishes, Dr. Collins. We participated in the citizenship video contest, and those were remarkable, what citizenship means to our students, and their work is incredible and inspiring. I attended with Dr. Griffin and some others, cabinet members, the Seminole High School GSA monthly meeting, and we met with students who are just trying to have a club of support for each other. And they've been subjected to posters being torn off and name-called, all the things that happen when people don't have a good understanding. But they shared a wealth of information with us, which in turn has brought forth some additional language in our policies, which we'll be talking about later on in June, I think, after it's advertised. But it was very inspiring to hear their stories. We attended the Young Women and Men of Excellence Awards, and they are quite inspiring and devoted. Some of these students didn't have much enthusiasm for school, and they were turned around because of that program. So we're looking at it at other levels too as well, maybe even starting in some elementary schools. I personally toured Eastbrook Elementary, Parton Elementary, Lawton Childs Middle, and Jackson Heights Middle. And embarrassingly, I fell down at Eastbrook and skinned my knee right in front of the principal, but he was very understanding. I'm so clumsy. Dr. Griffin and I attended the Haggerty Robotics Banquet, which is amazing. These students, they put out a spread of food, but they are such a family within that school. And it was very cool to see some of the students who are now in college came back to wish them well as well. Baseball games. Haggerty beat Lake Howell, sorry guys. But we're cheering for Haggerty. Wednesday, tomorrow, I guess, is they're in the district finals. So go Haggerty, Huskies. And finally, we attended the safety patrol graduation for the second semester, and that was a lot of fun. We shook a lot of hands, and then we used a lot of Purell afterwards. Pardon me?
Dividend.
Oh, yeah, they'll talk about it. Okay, thank you all. Thank you.
You, Vice Chairman Almond.
Thank you. Back in February, we had a JET student come before us. His name is Joey Elander, and he did our invocation. Since then, he was hired at Advent Health in the Nutritional Services Department, and we're very proud of him for that. They did great work in that department, in the Exceptional Student Services Department. We all attended the Take Stock in Children graduation. It's wonderful to see how these kids rise to the occasion, and they're going to be very, very successful in college with a lot of support, and how much they look up to their mentors and trust them and value those relationships. It's awesome. I went to the Lyman High School Scholars and Awards. I'm a graduate of Lyman, and very proud to have given out our 12th family scholarship this year. I'm always pleased. I follow a lot of these kids on social media, and I'm always pleased to see how they're moving forward with their education. Many of them now have graduated and gone on to either get married or, go to have a really good job. And Leadership Seminole, we already talked about that. Insurance and Wellness Committee did not meet. There wasn't a quorum to conduct business. I'm sure it will be rescheduled. I believe it's rescheduled in June. IT department, I would like to thank Ken, Bob, and Daryl and Sean, who basically have been saving us the last couple of weeks as security progresses to keep us safer in the data, not social media world, but in the internet world. It often locks us out of things to protect us, and they come to the rescue. I had made a comment to Dr. Harper that, we don't want them to drop what they're doing to help us. He said, you're not special. Whoever needs help, we drop what we're doing. And, well, if they need help, they do. And that made me feel really good, actually. PBAS, Dr. Griffin, you did an outstanding presentation. Private Business Association of Seminole. I've never in the 9 years seen anyone get a standing ovation for what they had to say. And you talked about not arming our teachers. That was probably the point that got the standing ovation, along with, the academics. And the last thing I'll say is with Rotary, thank you all for coming to the Rotary Wrap Banquet and honoring those 18 outstanding students who have overcome obstacles and challenges to go on and further their education. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mrs. Pinnock.
In addition to all of this, we attended the CFHLA award ceremony where several of our students were awarded with really wonderful scholarships. And just this week, we received notification that 2 of their business partners have selected 2 new schools to have partnerships, Castleberry and English Estates. So we'll see some great things happening with that partnership. We got a second invite by Mr. Terry Jones at Sanford Middle to go review math journaling that his class students do, and they each picked a page and got to show us what they were most proud of, and it was amazing. We didn't do math journals when we went to school, and just what these kids talked about, what they liked, what they didn't like was amazing, amazing. The UF coaching graduation was so spirited and so wonderful to see so many of our administrators and teachers with a focus on bettering every day. Just amazing. The foundation board meeting, we did a strategic plan reset where we looked at what our goals are currently in there versus what we think they should be to kind of refocus and rebrand and make sure that our purpose is solid in what we're stating the foundation is for and what we're asking for. And last, in addition to everything else that's going on, Memorial Day is coming up. The Wellness Committee and Sarah Hall have a walking section in the parade and have invited everyone and your families to participate. If you didn't get the email, email Dawn. She can give you the link to sign up just so that we can have an idea of how many people are going to be there. That's all.
Great. Well, ditto to everything you said, but I have a few others. Board members, I was so excited to receive a letter from the Government Finance Officers Association stating that our Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, or CAFR, for our last fiscal year received the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. So my hat's off to our entire finance team, specifically Carrie Chamber and Todd Seiss. I know they worked very, very hard on this, and you all read the CAFR every year. There's a lot of work that goes into it, so we're very, very proud of our team. Thank you so much. And Dr. Griffin, I wanted to thank you for making the public statement that your school board has directed you to put armed police officers or sheriff officers in all of our schools. That's what we believe in, and I appreciate you sharing that information. But I'd also like to add on to that I think it's important that the public knows that we do a whole lot more than that for school safety and security, and many things, as you understand, must stay confidential and private. So please know that that's not the only point of safety and security that we have in our schools, and I think that was important to bring up in case people feel that's the only thing that we're doing. It isn't. I want to thank Markham Woods for inviting us to the program of Living on Our Own. I hear that next year the program is going to expand to every single school and every single student, and I think it's important. These are things that we probably learned around the dinner table with our families, but how to budget things, and just because you have checks in the checkbook doesn't mean you have money in that account to pay if you write the check. So there were some great challenging examples, but I think the most heartening thing to me to see was that the community support. I mean, there were doctors that came in, there were professionals in every arena because they really wanted to share their journey and make sure that our students understood. Thank you to Sarah Hall again for our Share a Book Day. I thought that was fun to run around the schools, and I was giving out my favorite book, The Giving Tree, and reading to kids. And the excitement to me was seeing the love of books in the kids' eyes. In one kindergarten class, they were fighting over the book, and they were rubbing it like a puppy, and they're like, oh, please, can I read it first? So that's exciting that our teachers are obviously doing great work to expand the literacy and the excitement of learning in our classrooms. I wanted to say thank you to the Sanford Rotary. I was their guest speaker last month, but more important than that, they have really wrapped their arms around Hamilton Elementary School, and they have provided funds to build their outdoor garden. So the kids are actually growing vegetables and herbs, and they're putting them in the backpack program that goes home with the children on the weekend that need food, because many of those people live in a food desert and they don't have the fresh vegetables and the fruit. So it's exciting to see the love of a child eating arugula. I'm not so sure I ate arugula when I was in kindergarten, but since they grew it, they think it's great, so that's wonderful. Also wanted to thank another partnership we have with the Seminole Sheriff's Office, and that's for our crossing guards. And unfortunately, we had a crossing guard pass away who was at Brantley Elementary, and we planted a tree in his memory, and it was just a beautiful ceremony to see so many people from the Sheriff's Office, so many community family members who came out because they remember waving to him every morning when they dropped their children off at school. So it kind of shows you it does take the entire village, and you know, they can really set the stage for a child having a great day at school that day just by starting on a positive note. Congratulations to all of our Seminole State College graduates. They had their graduation ceremony before we had ours, but it's exciting that I recognized a lot of those faces that walked across the stage. So we really are sending some of our best and brightest to that great college, and they're making some great choices in their future. I attended our zoo board meeting, and our new president has been there for a year already. So we're going through his review. We've had some turnover in staff, looking for a CFO, looking at new fundraisers and different marketing opportunities, and hopeful that the TDC will again support their efforts and growth. And Ms. Krause and I had a great day the other day with our JET students visiting Florida Hospital and Oakmont to see how we are getting these students ready to work. The day we were there, I had to tell the one story. The paid employee, who was the dishwasher for the entire complex, just chose not to come to work and didn't call in or anything like that. But our students, by the time we got there, and it was 9:30 in the morning, had already washed every dish, cleared the tables, and put everything away in perfect order without any supervision whatsoever. So the manager even said that they could count on our students more than a lot of their employees as well. Our Sheriff's Fallen Hero ceremony was conducted the other week that I know we all attended, and while there wasn't a dry eye in the house, again, another collaborative partnership we have. I don't know if any of you knew that, but P.L. Malcolm was actually up on the roof of the courthouse playing taps. So, you know, we just love to work seamlessly as one organization in this community. And congratulations to all our dividends of the year. What a great celebration. We can't do it without their help. Millions of dollars of donated services each year. And another board I sit on for us is the Orlando Science Center. And while they didn't get their appropriation ask in this year's Tallahassee line item budget, they did get a cultural arts grant. So that will be expanding their educational programs for our students to partake of. So that was exciting as well. And I think that's all we have. Is there anything else, Dr. Griffin? Anything, Ms.
I
Sanchez?
always forget something, but I wanted to congratulate our dividend of the year, our student dividend of the year, Alex Tai from Haggerty, and we had an opportunity to go and surprise him and his family over at Jackson Heights Middle School last week, and also Lake Brantley High School also are district champs and are heading to regionals, right? And they're playing at Boone tomorrow night at 7 p.m. So, I'm sorry?
Oh, at home?
I have Boone.
Shorter drive.
Oh, they host Boone. Okay, so it's at Lake Brantley at 7 p.m. So, go Patriots.
Any?
He said he's here for you.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it.
Anything else to come before the board? Seeing none, this meeting stands adjourned. Thank you, team.
Oh, good. I don't have